There are so many things that you are going to encounter if you start working with secondhand fabrics. You just need to know how to read the signs. Welcome back to Fabric School. This fabric right here, even though it looks very, very basic, but this one to me was the most interesting fabric that I chose for my upcoming collection. This is a very simple bedsheet, 100% cotton in a canvas weave, a very nice way to make essentially any of the things you would usually make from a shirting fabric, and it's very peachy colored. Looking at this fabric, you can see that the selvage is a little bit more white. Now, usually when there are spots that are a little brighter or whiter on older fabrics, that means that they have faded. This oftentimes happens when fabric is folded and it's stored on a shelf, especially if that gets sun onto it. You will have very annoying wide stripes all around the fabric wherever the outside fold of that fabric was that are faded from the sun. This is very unfortunate and quite frustrating to work around, but this is different. Here the fading is really just around the edge, specifically on the selvage of the fabric. The selvage of your fabric is the side edge, and that is usually more dense than the rest of the fabric. On this one specifically, this type of selvage, you will have the outer ends of the thread looped back in and held in place that way. So you have twice as many threads here. The other interesting thing here is that there is a seam on this fabric. So you have two edges with a selvage, two edges that are sewn. And this one is stitched with white thread. Usually you wouldn't go for white thread. White thread would only be on here if it was done by someone at home and that's all they had. Or thing number two, which would match the selvage being white, this fabric was originally white. This fabric was originally white. It was made white and it was dyed after the fact. It was also not professionally dyed, because if it had been professionally dyed, it would have been dyed and then sewn with the correct colored thread. But this was dyed with a dye that is used for cotton fabric, and because of that, the white polyester thread did not get dyed. It didn't take the dye and stayed white. This also explains why the selvage is still a little bit white, because that at-home dye job didn't properly soak into that part of the fabric because it is so dense. And that is something I found out only by looking at this. So this fabric is totally fine to work with, but usually I would always say apply caution when you have fabrics that are dyed at home, especially darker ones.